Hey guys, Steve Jackson broadcasting live from the Vape Dungeon. I've got another new toy to look at tonight. It is the eLeaf 60 watt temperature control. Very interesting little device. Right now I've got a Triton on it. I've been vaping this on the regular for most of the day. I've got a Hercules 0.2 coil in there. And I'm hitting it about 550 degrees. It's nickel. Produces a really nice vape comparable to every other temperature controlled device at 550 degrees. It's interesting. I don't know if you can... immediately went to temperature protect because I've already got it hot. But you can watch the wattage move around on this. And it usually ramps up. It takes about maybe 1 second. About 2 half-second pulses to get there. Of course, after it's warm, it just vapes. Now, this came with something interesting in the box. It's part of a kit. That's an e-clip, by the way. Accessory of the year. You will find one on just about everything that I have. Not because I work for eClip or because I sell eClip, but because I use eClip. There's the tank that came in the box, the Milo 2. Really interesting. It's a 4.5 milliliter tank. Takes Milo and iJust 2 coils, and this is a rather interesting feature of this tank. Oh. Now, it just so happens that I'm out of juice. Let me dig around. Happen to have some smack here from Smoky Mountain Vapes, 3 milligram. And filling this tank is amazingly easy because the dropper tip of a dropper just fits right down in there, and down she goes. Probably get a full dropper. Right down in the side. Now this thing holds 4.5 milliliters, so I'm not going to make you watch me fill the whole thing. That'd take a minute. Oh, I'm trying to pay attention to my camera angle and fill the tank at the same time. I just had some overflow. Promise, not the tank's fault. That's just me being clumsy. So, with its titanium coil, I was not at all happy with the airflow, and I looked into that coil, and seemed like there was something in the way. I don't know if the titanium coils are all that tight. I'll have to investigate that later. Maybe you guys can report your own stories about that. But I took that out and I put the nickel coil in. Yeah, it read it. Didn't even ask if it was a new coil, it just knew. Nice vape. And this combo is pretty amazing for the money. These things retail for, and I'm talking brick and mortar. Sure, you can find them on the internet for less. Careful though that you're getting a real one when you find them for less. eLeaf has become one of the most counterfeited things on earth. That is why I buy things from places that I know are iSmoka direct. But they brick and mortar for just over $70 in most places. And that's a lot of bang for the buck. Of course, they have broken from their internal cells that they've been using with this and gone to the bring your own battery model. And that's pretty cool because, I mean, most of the single battery eLeaf devices always worked off of a 2200 milliamp hour. The chemistry might have been lipo, might have been lithium magnesium. And they work really well. But you have the option with this to put in some pretty high milliamp hour batteries. I mean, there's stuff out there now. It's 3,500 milliamp hour in an 18650 package. It's pretty crazy. Nice vape. For those of you who like metrics, that enjoy specifications, just happen to have those here. Most important thing to know about it is probably it's a 200 to 600 degree temperature controlled. It does support nickel and titanium and Canthal. That's interesting. In wattage mode, it'll do a 0.15 up to a 3.5, and in temperature controlled mode, it will do a 0.05 to a 1.0. Now, there's nowhere in the published specs that tell you this. I threw something that was really high ohm on there just to get a readout on it, and it actually goes up to 8 volts, which or 7.99 volts, which is really good. I mean, that's a pretty stout boost circuit in that little guy. Has lots of readouts on it. It shows you your ohms. Really, if you've ever seen a 40 watt, the electronics seem to be extremely similar to the 40 watt. They moved the mode switch button down here to the bottom. They turned the up-down into a single button, so if you're trying to do a lock maneuver, you actually now press that in the middle instead of having to fumble around and catch the two different buttons. This, they advertise, is now a stainless steel fire button. The eLeaf rattle that always happened, I know everybody asks, no, this does not. These are solid. I don't know if you can hear the sound of it, but they feel different and sound different than the very inexpensive buttons that eLeaf has used in the past. What else is it trusted? It does stealth mode. If you hold down the down button and the fire button simultaneously, you end up in stealth mode. And the cool thing about stealth mode is, of course, it doesn't turn on when it vapes. It does turn on if you adjust things, though. Turn that off. Stealth off. It has resistance lock. If you hold down the up button and this button, eventually the little ohm marker turns to a little padlock, and I am locked in at 0.15 volts. There's no accidental new coil up, old coil down messages with that. If you turn it off with your normal 5 clicks, then you can hold this up, down, in the middle, basically press both up and down at the same time, and you get, if you do it right, you get a display flip out of it. I understand there have been a few that do that, a few models, maybe even the 30 watt did that. Kind of cool. Dimensions: 3.5 by 1.5 by 1 1/8. And it has this very interesting curved shape to it. Now, that is nice in the hand. The way that it curves against the palm is very, very nice. The general size of it is very, very nice. The weight balance of it is very nice. It feels very solid. And the battery door is double magnetic, meaning that there's got this little tab down here you pull out on. There are magnets there as well as there, so you get a very strong magnetic seal on that door. This one is obviously the brushed steel outer frame, and you can get this in the painted black, so it's an all black unit. I just like the black and stainless look. It'd probably look really badass with like a black crown tank and a silver hollow point tip on it or something. I just happen to have my trusty purple E-clip handy. I've got so many of these things. I now have a red one that I'm sporting. I have the indigo quote-unquote blurple Sigelli 150TC with the red E-clip on that. That's a good vape. But I gotta tell you, this and this with this Triton tank set to the same temperature, there's probably, I don't know, 70 degrees difference between the two and getting the same vape out of it, but that's really common. The eLeafs, I usually vape them at about 550 degrees and around 450 to 480, somewhere in that range on a Sigelei or a Snow Wolf, a lot of the other devices. And that's not a difference in power. I think actually the eLeaf is telling you the right temperature, and those guys run a little bit hot for what they're telling you. So, bottom charging port, spring-loaded top pin, has a lanyard hook on it. And that's it. I mean, it is a really basic device. If you can operate an easy bake oven, then you can set a temperature and make it vape more, make it vape less, depending on what it is that you're trying to do. The airflow on the included Milo 2, you know, I don't know if it's much different than a Milo version 1. You want to compare. This Triton is wide open. In my opinion, the airflow is a little bit freer on the Milo 2. The one disappointing thing about the iJust and the Milo 2, or the Milo, all of them, is their coil is just ever so, like, 1.5 millimeters shorter than a Hercules coil. So you stick those in there and you're gapped at the bottom. And sometimes that matters and sometimes it doesn't, depending on the tank and how it fits together and how its gaskets are arranged. But for what you're getting there, that is an amazing vape at the usual iStick amazing price. I would carry this device. I mean, I've had a 40 watt forever, and I just gave it to a friend of mine that was quite surprised by the performance of it. And I need a compact device that's easy to carry with me, and I took this one to review, but it might not ever go back to the store. It might become mine. That 40 watt that I took never failed me once, and I really enjoyed it. And this is really the same thing plus a little. And it's got an even better ergonomic design to it. I am just loving it. So there you go, guys. Kind of the ins and outs of the eLeaf 60 watt. I'll give you the last look there with its included tank. I will tell you, though, I like what you get for the money. eLeaf is making some amazing tanks. They retail for like 25 bucks, and they're really good. Are they as good as like a $40 Triton tank with a Hercules 0.2 coil in it? No. No. Not in anybody's wildest dreams. You know, I don't think eLeaf ever even claimed that they were. But what's... Oh, hey, I've got my resistance locked in, and I changed coils. So I'm going to unlock that, and let's let it rediscover that 0.2 coil. Oh, is it a new coil? You guys seen that message before? Actually, yes, it sure is. And boom. There's that reading. There's a better coil inside this tank, so it's a better vape. Is it twice as good to go with the twice as much price tag? Probably not. You know, probably not. The Milo 2 gets the job done, but sure, you can upgrade. But if you're trying to get an entry-level thing going on, you want all-in-one, you don't want to have to mess with a charger because it's got integrated USB charging. I mean, this is where it's at. iSmoka just keeps doing it. They're inexpensive, decent quality devices keep going up in quality. The price is not proportionally increasing to go with the increase in quality, so I think it's a great thing. Alright, I drug that out as far as I possibly can. Sorry guys for it being so long, because really it's such a simple device. There's just not a lot to say about it past those specs, and yeah, it's for real. It works. Have a good night.